Long lines of customers waiting to buy recreational marijuana. This is the scene in much of Missouri, now the latest state to legally sell weed.
First day of legal recreational marijuana sales brought lines so long that we found people waiting in the cold halfway up the block this evening.
Take a look at this live. As people are getting off work tonight, the line for the drive-through is got to be at least 20 deep going all the way down the side of the building, another 15 to 20 people out front.
So that happened, and I keep coming across articles about how legalizing recreational marijuana has a very positive impact on home prices. In this video, we're gonna get to the bottom of it. Is it true? Is it false? And how will it impact you if you're buying or selling a home here in Kansas City this year? If you're new to the channel, then welcome. My name's Nick Massa. I'm a real estate advisor here in Kansas City. I help people buy and sell homes across the Kansas City metro, whether you're a local or you're relocating from hundreds of miles away. I make these videos to keep you up to date so you're the first to hear of information like this. Usually they're a little more informative than entertainment like this one, but if you like it, hit that like button, subscribe so you're the first to see the really value-packed informative videos. And of course, if you like what I have to say or you like my style and you don't have an agent but you are buying a home, I would love to work with you. All of my contact information is below. Call, text, email, and we can get you going. Before we dive deep into the nitty-gritty details here, keep in mind that every article on the internet basically says the same thing, cites the study. So we're going to kind of follow the rabbit hole here, but it all starts with an article from clever.com. So here's the article on your screen that you can see. It was written in 2021, how legalizing recreational marijuana impacts home values. In this article, as you can see on the key insights, feel free to pause it. They're making a couple claims. One is that medicinal doesn't have an impact, but recreational legalization has a significant impact on home prices. They later go on to say that it's about 8% of a positive bump right after recreational legalization takes place. They're also saying that basically all of their numbers specific to recreational legalization, its impact on home prices, are coming from the Cato Institute. So littered throughout this, they've got a lot of graphs, and they've taken some data from Zillow and said that, okay, these are the dates when legalization actually took place in some of these states like Nevada, Colorado, Washington, Oregon, and home prices had some type of increase. And I'll leave this in the description so you can go through it if you'd like to. They go through crime, which is kind of irrelevant to what we're talking about here. Even though crime could have a follow-on effect, I think that's kind of splitting hairs at this point. So anyway, I'm going to take you down to the bottom of this article. First of all, the conclusion: investing in a housing market after recreational legalization is a safe bet. Real estate investors should look for areas where commercial licenses have been requested. Fair enough. Let's go down to the sources, because this is really the only thing that matters. The first one is Zillow's historical home prices and values. We're not really concerned about that. So we're going to stick with the one reliable source. It's the backbone for most of their arguments, which is the Cato Institute. They're saying that the people who are in support of recreational legalization, that it'll have good effects in the community because it reels in the black market and hampers that activity. It brings in tax revenue. And finally, the kind of switch off as people use marijuana, they're saying it'll decrease alcohol consumption, which is worse than recreational marijuana. So these are the arguments that this brief is specifically dissecting. But analysis focuses only on Denver, so one should be very careful in generalizing our results to other urban areas. Okay, and you'll note that they have also cited a whole different study here. And here we go. Contact high: the external effects of retail marijuana establishments on house prices. You'll notice they're mostly talking about Denver and the state of Colorado in general. So we're just going to scroll down to the conclusion because I don't think we really need to look through all the models and the numbers. So here we go. We find that after the law went into effect at the end of 2013, single-family residences close to retail conversion increased in value by approximately 8.4%, relative to homes that are located slightly farther from a conversion. But we do find the effect on house prices to be highly localized. The effect of retail conversion on nearby house prices in Denver is measured over a relatively short time period. Our analysis is silent on the long-term impacts. We are also agnostic as to the underlying cause of our results, meaning they cannot credibly say that marijuana legalization is what caused home prices to increase. More or less, it's just a correlation. Is that legalization happened, home prices increased. We can't say that legalization is what caused the home prices to go up. They also say that there are some other contributing factors to this, like increase in housing demand as a result of marijuana-related employment. That would be a plus. That's fair. That makes sense. Lower crime rates and additional amenities locating in close proximity to retail conversions. This happened to be the first paper to address this point. Well, I've done a little bit more research. I found on a whole nother paper, and it goes through some of the other states, and it looks at Zillow data kind of similar to the way that the Clever one did. Again, we're just going to scroll right to the conclusion. So here we go, a bunch of academic words. It shows that within states that legalize recreational marijuana use, homes experience a positive valuation shock when a dispensary opens nearby. Here's the same issue that other study had, which was our research is not able to determine whether the positive effect will persist. The other one said they can't predict into the future. And then they go on to say that if immigration inflows are the primary cause of the results, then there would be diminishing returns, meaning there might be an initial bump in home prices as people relocate to the area and jobs bring a bunch of employment and cash to the area, but that slowly declines over time. So we've looked at all of those conclusions. Here's my conclusion about how it will impact home prices here in Kansas City. So unfortunately, a lot of the states that they're looking at, like Denver and Washington, were like some of the first states to legalize it. So those states had a first mover advantage. Everybody who was interested in that industry wanted to get in early. So there was a very positive bump in those states, but that effect does not carry on since Missouri is kind of late to the game here. All of those other states exists, but yes, there will be some kind of bump initially as people relocate, there are more jobs that are available. And then the second kind of tangible benefit, especially for Kansas City, is the bump in tax revenue. Kansas City happens to be the biggest city in the state of Missouri, and there are certainly going to be even more dispensaries that open up. Here's a picture of how many dispensaries there are that sell recreational marijuana right now. Now, something that you'll have to consider if you're buying a home or selling a home somewhere in Kansas City, Missouri, is like, what are the neighbors doing? So a very simple Google search, I found that people can grow up to 12 plants at a time. I also Googled, well, how much does that produce? Then it came back about 224 grams, which is about 8 ounces of marijuana. So if you can have 12 plants producing 8 ounces of marijuana, you're at 96 ounces, almost 100 ounces of marijuana could be produced right next door. Then you might not even have any way to know it. Hopefully the smell would be a dead giveaway. Sometimes I guess there are ways to circumvent that, but it's something to pay attention to. And moving forward, that's something that most likely will have to be disclosed on the seller's disclosure. So we'll have to kind of see how this develops and impacts the culture of Kansas City, how it impacts crime in Kansas City, and how it impacts tax revenue and the fiscal responsibility of the government here. I think it'll be pretty interesting to see, but as of right now, I think we can certainly say that there will be some minor flows of relocation, some minor openings of jobs that support the industry. The problem, though, is that this already existed. All of these dispensaries that you see that I showed you on that picture already existed as medicinal dispensaries, but now they're recreational, so the infrastructure doesn't really change. It's just the status, so it seems pretty indeterminate, but we'll have to see. I'll do maybe an update here in about a year, and we'll see if there was actually a tangible impact that we can correlate or maybe even trace back to legalization. Now, I know this is quite a divergence from the normal videos you'll see on this channel, but I found it kind of interesting, and hopefully you did too. And if you did, hit that like button. If you'd like to be the first to hear about big changes in the Kansas City housing market, we're in the middle of a very turbulent market. It's starting to heat up. Subscribe so you don't miss any key details that could save you a lot of time or money. And of course, if you like my style, what I have to say, I'd love to work with you. Let's see if we make a good fit. All my contact information is below. Give me a phone call, a text, or an email, and we can get started and hit the ground running. Thanks for watching the video. I will see you on the next one.